Good morning. It is Sunday, March 1st, 2026. Beautiful, beautiful 80-ish outside in Southern California. It is getting pretty hot for a February. This is your host of the MARZ Variety Show, the captain of disaster, the star-born child, the man to free all the slaves in space, your boy, Captain Mars. And today on the MARZ Variety Show, we have so many things we're going to talk about, so many things we're going to chat about. One, we have, if you guys don't know, we do a pre-show before every one of these recordings, and we played some Pokemon VGC, talked a little bit about the going format. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to be talking the new Eva anime. We're going to be talking about Rick and Morty Season 9 and spinoffs. I got a personal update. We're going to be talking about a new stream day being added and some life updates to surround that. Scrubs has gotten rebooted, you guys. It is one of my favorite sitcoms. We're going to talk about the Pokemon starters. For the bulky part of the podcast, we are doing a little bit of a Pokemon explainer / rant. We're going to be talking about what Pokemon companies really up to these days, what they're aiming for with their product now that Pokemon is kind of growing as a franchise. And then we're going to review Sonic 1 and 2. We're getting ready to talk about some 90s property. Sonic 1 and 2 is on my docket. So, right now, we're going to start with the question of the day. What is your favorite 90s media property? And I'm going to be honest with you guys. It was kind of hard for me to answer this one for myself because I'm a 90s baby. I was born in 93. A lot of my friends are born just a few years older than me, so pretty much all of the media that we consume is 90s media. Pokemon, pretty late 90s media. Power Rangers, Super Sentai, very big boom in America during the 90s. Sonic the Hedgehog, I played it in the 90s. But it is weird because like a lot of those, I think, for us, the pivotal moments of those franchises really did happen in the 2000s, though. Some of the best like Power Ranger seasons are like SPD, Jungle Fury, things that came out in the early 2000s. I feel like Pokemon didn't really hit its like stride until Johto and Hoenn, which are like 2000 series. I'm also thinking like Digimon. Digimon might be a little more iconic as a 90s series, even though 02, no, that happened in 2002. I'm even thinking like maybe the third series, Digimon Tamers, even though that's a little popular, that's kind of a little more edgier. It still has that 90 love onto it. Let's see. It's really hard to think about it. I really want to just like hone on to Sonic because that feels like the most 90s. Like that feels like the most 90s property to me. He's like he's a response to, he's like the way that he was designed, I guess I'm trying to say, is very 90s. Like he's a response to Mario, who was kind of like a plumber, kind of chill. Everything about him screams 90s cool. Like you think of a lot of media brands, they try to do coolness in the 90s. They try to rebrand to cool. Like think of the Cheeto guy, the Kool-Aid man. Like Sonic is, everything about him is 90s to me. I don't know. Thinking about some like the action stuff, I really like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, some of my favorite shows on the like in the 90s time. A lot of people may not know this. I'm a big 90s sitcom guy. I didn't have a lot of like cable growing up, so things like The Nanny, things like Boys Meet World, things that you can catch on like the Disney afternoon stuff, UPN. I really love like Martin. And those things are like firmly in the 90s. Sabrina the Teenage Witch even kind of has that 90s switch, or the 90s to 2000 switch. That's one of my favorite TV shows. Man, maybe we'll do a 90s run. I've been thinking about a segment after the breakdown, and maybe it'll be like reminiscing. Maybe I'll do a little bit of a reminiscing segment. I like doing this podcast and I like reviewing things, but I don't want to ever make this like the shows that I review be strictly the things I like. I do want to talk about things that are going on in the pop culture sphere. If I don't like something, I'm not going to review it for long. But I also kind of do want to share the things that I really do like. So we might have to do a little 90s segment. Anyway, the answer to this question for me is I'm gonna have to go with Sonic the Hedgehog. One of my favorite 90s property is Sonic the Hedgehog. I feel like he's 90s to a core. Speed, being cool, nice bright colors, not solely neon, but bright blues. He's on everything in the 90s. Like you can go get a 90s computer and play Sonic. every 90s game console has a Sonic game except for PlayStation. It's just so cool. And I'm happy that like even his 90s movies are, we always talk about like the Mario movie being like trash from the 90s. But Sonic decided to stay 2D during the 90s, and he has some of the best like movies to date in that era. So yeah, favorite 90s property, Sonic. Gotta call it for him. Okay, let's talk about what's going on today. I actually gonna life update. So I was working as a video editor and a showrunner for a political podcast station here in California. I was doing this for a while. We cannot really talk about it too much because of NDAs and stuff. But I was recently let go maybe about a month ago. So I got a couple thousand savings to take care of bills and stuff, and I got things going on. But it made me realize, I probably should be doing something a little more media friendly to get cash. And I'm here doing podcasts, so if you guys hear me talk about doing donations a little bit more, I'm going to be talking about donations and all that and make sure that's all set up. I know a couple months ago we started doing Ko-Fi donations. So if you guys see me just talking a little bit more about like monetization here on the podcast and on the stream, it's not mandatory. It's not anything that I need you guys to do or like, I'm never going to do this. But think about it like that. Like if you like the entertainment you're getting, you want the show to go on, $2-3 is probably going to be my Patreon minimum. There's going to be Ko-Fi requests for as little as like $4 or $5 for you guys to tell me your favorite TV shows and I'll watch them and review them. Yeah, I am going to try to monetize a little bit on the podcast. I'm going to be learning how to like sharpen up my drawing skills so I can make stickers and things. I did some math in my head. I got all that already planned out. But yeah, starting today, the podcast is really going to be really strong. Every season is about 13 episodes, so 3 months. I'll probably be taking 1 weekend off every season just, to recruit. I'll be able to live my life. But this podcast is staying on Sundays. I might move it to Sunday nights eventually. But Sunday is definitely the day we're going to be doing the podcast. And then on top of that, a little bit of life update. Because I did get let go of my job, the guy who was running my boss, got a little extra cash on him. So he was telling me that if I keep streaming for pretty much the next 3 months and it's consistent, we get our numbers up, kind of get to where we need to get monetization wise on Twitch, that by summertime we should be having a sponsor. We should be having a 2-part sponsor here on the stream. Just making sure things are operating, things run evenly. This podcast doesn't take a lot for me to run, maybe about a few $100 for like subscriptions and things. So having a sponsor to take care of like operating costs would be really nice. But for me and myself, we're gonna be putting some little tiers, Patreon and all that good stuff. So it's not, on top of that, it's not just me asking for money and just doing what we have doing just now. On the flip side, we're also going to be adding another stream day. I'm working it out right now. Most likely we're aiming for either Wednesday or Thursday night. And it's gonna be it's gonna be a flip of Sunday, where I'll probably be spending like the first hour or two talking about like current events, talking about pop culture stuff. And then for the last 2 to 3 hours, we'll be gaming. I'm going to talk to my friends about hopping on Discord, talk to my friends about hopping to play a couple of games. We're definitely going to be playing Pokemon, VGC, Pokemon Champions when it drops. That's probably going to be the main game. I just like playing Pokemon. It's kind of hard to say that I don't. And it would be cool to have a group of friends hopping in on the ladder, chilling. Just be nice. It's not going to be Pokemon every single week. I'm going to switch it up with some party games. I like playing Fortnite a little bit. I just like party shooters. It's a really fun game. Sometimes we might be doing Honkai farming events. I don't know. It's just going to be like I do the variety show on Sundays, so expect a gaming variety show on Wednesdays. Or a gaming-based variety show on Wednesdays. So that's that. We're going to be doing it for about a quarter so we can get a sponsor and make some profit, get the donations going. I'm not a big fan, and speaking of donations and stuff, I'm not a very big fan of just doing things and asking people to give me money. So a big part of having like the patrons, make sure that you guys have something valuable, something cool to get. I don't know if that's in the form of collectibles, if that's in the form of digital collectibles, if that's the form of just me spending a few $100 and mailing out stuff every once in a while. So don't think I'm just going to be asking for money to ask for money. I'm definitely super much thinking about how I can give you guys some cool ass things. as like supporters of the podcast. So, but on that note, let's talk about what we're talking about today, guys. We got Ava animation, we got Rick and Morty. We are gonna do an actual like gaming update for Pokemon. We're gonna talk about Scrubs, Pokemon starters, all that good stuff. So let's talk about Evangelion. So if you guys don't know, I really do like Evangelion. It's like one of my favorite animes. Super depressing, super crazy. Don't get me wrong. But let's read this article real quick. So Evangelion franchise announced news series. Sorry. Oh wait. Pause. Fun update. I recently, because we are, oh no, I'll talk about that later. I guess I'll talk about that later. Whatever. We'll have to cut that out. So Evangelion. So Evangelion 30th anniversary of Evangelion Festival ended on Monday with a surprise video. This project teased the franchise's next genesis. From series script supervisor and scriptwriter Yoko Taro from the Nier Automata game and anime franchise, director Kazuma Tsutamake from Rebuilding Evangelion in the Gundam series G-Quacks, and Tobe Yanabe from Evangelion 3.0 and 1.0, Thrice Upon Time, and assistant director of the anime of the Chainsaw anime, storyboard director. Big stuff. Basically, the Evangelion anime is getting a new series, and some heavy hitters from the manga industry are going to be there to facilitate it. And I think this is actually super cool. Evangelion is known to be one of the big boys. Evangelion is one of the big boy mecha animes. Up there with Gundam, up there with Gurren Lagann, up there with Robotech. And them getting a new anime adaptation would be really nice. I think the story of Evangelion is very convoluted. They definitely do not explain the moral of the story very well. And on top of that, I think the Rebirth movies are super convoluted too. So to have a Evangelion series come back into the modern era would be nice. I think it has a really good moral to it, you know. No matter how depressing life is, to never give up. No matter how dark and dim the world is, individuality and striving to bring up your fellow man is always the best way to protect others and not crazy psycho simulation of consciousness. So Ava for the New Age is super fire. I did watch the Evangelion reboot movies a while ago for myself after watching the series and getting super deep into it. So maybe revisiting them would be nice. Maybe we'll have to watch the series. I don't know. A recap series at the end of the podcast would be nice, or at the end of the breakdowns would be nice. But yeah, new Eva franchise. I know the Nier Automata anime was super fire. Like animation was good, and G-Quacks, like people are super hype about Gundam animes these days. I'm happy that they come out somewhat regularly. We definitely got to go and touch some robot animes. Okay. Let's go. Let's keep going. Next, so updates on the new Rick and Morty season 1. Rick and Morty, one of my favorite TV shows in the whole entire series world. And Keith Davidson has an update. So real quick, we are getting a new Rick and Morty season. Season 9 did drop like an animation the other day, and after season 9, we know that the next spinoff for them is the President Curtis series, where Keith Davidson is reprising his role as the president, and they're gonna go on wacky adventures. If you guys don't know, the president in Rick and Morty is very much like attached to Rick. For some reason, Rick has like lent his help to the president so many times, and you would think that Rick wouldn't care about like the government, especially the United States government, and how weird they are. But oddly enough, like it's a very big plot point in a lot of the seasons, and they're like buddy. Like they get sensitive over each other. It's really cute. But it would be nice to see. First of all, I like Keith David. He's a really good actor. I liked him in Community season 6. Super talented dude. So him having his own TV show is just fire off bat. But also getting more Rick and Morty is really nice. Ever since they did this soft reboot with Rick and Morty around season 6, season 7, they definitely have done more with the franchise. We've gotten the anime. We've gotten confirmation of other spinoffs. And they kind of reboot the storyline to kind of be able to write Rick and Morty in different ways. So I'm definitely hyped to see more of it. Keith definitely deserves all the work in Hollywood. Like, yeah, like let that. Well, if you guys don't know who Keith Davis is, honestly, like his name. Let me come up. Let me come up for y'all. Search Keith Davis. This guy. He's in Gargoyles, Princess and the Frog. He's in Coraline. He's what else? What else? What else? For me and my friends are things that we definitely know him from. Let's go to television. Let's go to television. He was in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. That's definitely how I remember him. President Curtis from Rick and Morty. That's video games. The television. I didn't know he was a narrator in Teen Titans Go. That makes sense. He's in Abbott Elementary. He's Frank. He plays Darkseid in Kite Man. Come on, what's a super famous like role he's in that people definitely know him from? I didn't know he played T'Chaka in Avengers Assemble. Man, there are just some fire themes that he's in. He's a Lion Musician and BoJack Horseman. What is Greenleaf? I have never heard of Greenleaf. He's Uncle Grandpa? Wait a second. Oh, in one episode. Oh, he's Santa Claus and Uncle Grandpa. Hold up. I was about to lose my mind. Hold up. Mongol and Young Justice. Flame King in Adventure Time. Elroy. He's also the narrator in Community. But he plays Elroy in Community. Crazy. Like, he is like a super like talented and well-versed guy. But he's just under the surface a lot. Like Apollo's voice in Hercules. Yeah, he's just one of those guys who he always is working, but never in the spotlight. And that's why I feel like he really deserves his own movie. He plays Masago. Yeah, just give him his own show. Just give old boy his own show. I'm not even gonna do this with y'all today. Because, oh my God. How's this man been in Hollywood for so long, has done so much work, and you have not given him like his own show? Crazy work. Let's talk about Scrubs. So the Scrubs reboot. So real quick. So when I was in high school, first year of college, couple years of college, I was really into Scrubs. For me, the first time that I watched on network television, two guys be emotional, be really cutesy, like have bromance, was in Scrubs. JD, Turk. I have a friend in college who watched this show too. His name's Dakota. He's very much a Turk. He's like a Chad, a good Golden Heart Chad boy who played sports. I very much in college. I was a JD, very sensitive type of guy. Wanted to get into like we both got into the fields we got into for the same reasons, wanting to help people. And I just love Scrubs. 8 seasons. The 9th season's not even terrible. I mean, it's a little wacky, but it's not even terrible. Of just watching these guys grow and solidify themselves. They're growing up and being adults. Also, while solidifying themselves as doctors. And it's definitely the perfect, like, young adult comedy. I wish that we had something like that right now to just show the struggles of, like, dating and struggling in the workplace with peers that you have. It's just one of those good comedies and one of those good sitcoms. And I didn't know that the janitor was only supposed to be like a one-off gag. So this is talking about how the janitor, one of the most prolific characters in Scrubs, was meant to only be a one-off character. And if you guys don't know, the janitor is one of my favorite characters in Scrubs. He's usually played as JD's foil, someone to go against JD, someone to usually like teach JD a moral story about the plot, or sometimes he's just antagonistic. But he's supposed to represent someone who does their job and just is low-key miserable in it. Doesn't too much care for what he does, but just does it. And he's supposed to, for the audience, you're supposed to be like, you really don't want to be the janitor who's just, he doesn't care about like the good or the bad his job does. He's just there to do it. He's always meant to like bring JD down, bring him down to earth. And I just didn't know he was a one-off position. And as time goes on, like the janitor role evolves. He ends up learning how to enjoy life, ends up being lightened up a little bit. And JD is the catalyst for that. He still is very antagonistic. He gets other character arcs with like Bob Kelso, where him and Bob kind of have this super antagonistic energy. Bob being the top and very much does whatever he wants to do for his salary. And janitor who knows like if the minute that he slips up, everybody's going to be on him. They have this antagonistic force. I just love him. And Flynn plays him so well. He's played so well off of Zach Braff's character. It definitely makes me want to rewatch this show. I think maybe we'll do like a full watch of it before I do the reboot. because it's a really emotional like it's like a really emotional show. And I kind of relate a lot to JD too. Like JD is kind of the younger brother, the more like successful younger brother in his family. His older brother's a big goofball. I really like resonate with that because that's how I feel about my older brother, who's like kind of a giant goofball. Like he's a good guy sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna talk mess about him, but I always feel like I'm always the more responsible younger brother, and it's kind of unfair where like I feel like one of my older brothers just got to be a goofball all his life, and I had to sit here and like lock in and be like the best example of a younger brother or best example of a person. It's just super crazy. Okay. We've been at this for about 40 minutes. I do have a review I want to do today. So let's talk about some updates that we're going to be doing. And I kind of do want to talk about Pokemon Champions. So, one big thing that's going on, that one big change that I was teasing earlier. Ooh, let's talk about fun stuff and then we'll talk about this because gaming has just exploded in my life lately. Like, gaming has exploded. So, let's work my way back, and then this is going to get into the rest of the podcast. My phone. I love my phone, y'all. But I feel like we're always on them. Especially in the last like 3-4 years where TikTok has been like one of the biggest apps in the world, that I feel like just in generally, like we're always on our phones. And I didn't think about it until like I talked to literally my best friend who was kind of like, I guess he had said it like 2 or 3 times about how he's just not a big fan of like these group chats that we just send like videos and links to stuff in. It's like, and I was thinking to myself, like, but that's how people talk these days. Like, people chat through these messaging apps and these links and memes and now. And I definitely think like this culture that like people are sharing videos back and forth is reminiscent of sharing memes back and forth from a couple of years back. That there's definitely a loss of like community now. Like you're not in the group chats talking every day. You're not checking up on your homies every day. I mean, I know there's some people who do still do that in Discord, but like, you know, you have specific Discords for specific things and boo 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 boo. And it all started, and I feel like the decline of like community started with TikTok. Yeah, now I could just send you the next viral thing. We can all be on the same TikTok trend. And I could be super hyping, like talking about myself or telling on myself. But this is how I feel. And I've noticed that like I have put everything on my phone. So because I am doom scrolling on my phone right now, I have all my games on my phone. And I knew I bought a good, like, for me personally, I was already stuck on my phone when TikTok hopped around because I had put so many like games on my phone. Like I have not Pokemon. Yeah, no, I had Pokemon Go on my phone for the longest. Like it's the app I've had on the phone for the longest. When Dual Links was very big in my life, I had Dual Links on my phone. I have all types of games on my phone. I was doing Donkai Battle. Man, if there was a hero collector, I was trying it out. And I have noticed that since I have been doing so much gaming on my phone, I have started doing so much gaming on other things. I can't sit on my computer and play for super long. It takes me forever to get through story games these days on my consoles. So I've decided that I'm going to shift off of it. One, when I do my podcast work, I try to get off my phone. I have a tablet, physical stuff that I plan the podcast and jot ideas down and brainstorm on. Gaming, talking to people, I'm purposely making sure that I'm talking to my friends and family more, trying to set up more in-person hangouts. I got to get better with my siblings on this one. But for gaming, and since gaming and my friends are such a big thing, I've decided that I'm going to invest a little bit more into my gaming stuff so I can play with my friends more. And I think all my friends are definitely getting into Pokemon more, which has gotten me to do 2 things. So before we get into Pokemon, handheld gaming. So we talked about this on the podcast a few weeks, and this is the Ambernick RG476. It was my retro device. I love it. And this was my thing for the longest. I like this little 4x3 screen. I like that it runs Android 14. Pretty hertz screen. Very beautiful device. I think if I was more doing my, like, putting my head out of my ass though when I was doing my research on it and realizing that this was an Android tablet and it was primarily an Android tablet with just some controllers on it and not like some magical like retro gaming device, I think I would have bought a different device to play like Android games to emulate on, because emulation is a very fun thing to do. If I did my research more, I don't think I would have got this so soon. I think I would have still got it because it's such a nifty little 4x3 device, but it was cool. I liked it. I immediately realized I had to upgrade because I realized I am a very big gamer. Realized my kid is getting this one, and I know she's going to be happy when I give it to her. So I upgraded. I ended up buying 2 devices, one to take on the go and everywhere I go, and one to keep at home to act like a Steam Deck Mini. I've realized that I bought a Retro Pocket Flip 2. This is my daily gaming device. Right now, I'm even farming Honkai as I'm recording this stream. And I love this thing. Big old 5.5-inch widescreen OLED screen. I think it's 1080. Very, very strong. And right now, as I'm even talking to you guys right now, it's running Honkai amazingly. The screen is beautiful. It looks vibrant. And honestly, it's probably the best like $250 I've ever spent. $250 because I got mine off of Amazon because I am very impatient. But you can save about $40 and get it directly off the website. Even more because they're always doing sales. But this is my Android gaming device. I have a lot of, as my Android gaming device, it has all of my emulators and ROMs that I like to play. I own a lot of these games already, so it's not like, I'm out here being a jerk. But like, I already own all of Kingdom Hearts. So I just wanted to play them portable. I bought something I could play them portable on. Pokemon games. I own a lot of Pokemon games, but sometimes I just want to play them portable on a big screen. Here it goes. Sonic games. I have owned a lot of Sonic games and not finished a lot of Sonic games. So this is why I bought this. Let me stop hitting y'all. And then also there's just Android games that I feel like I want to play or I don't mind buying, like Cassette Beast. I really want to play through Cassette Beast on stream. So yeah, I spent about $200 on this pretty nifty device. Bought some accessories so I can use it to stream. And then I ended up buying an A&Y Thor. And I think this is also something I kind of want to talk about because the prices for these things are going up because of tariffs and ROM prices because of I don't even want to get into it right now. But I also went and got an I Thor, a 3DS based tablet. Real nice. I went and got the Max model. It's going to be my little Steam Deck Mini. And I'm going to just get through my backlog on this one. It is a little bigger than this one, but it's just way more powerful. And I got this mostly because, like, yeah, the Steam Deck stopped being a thing. They discontinued them, and I kind of didn't want to miss out on having a high-performing device because of all the tariffs and RAM hikes. So I did kind of shotgun it. This is probably going to be the device I use to stream a lot of, like, Pokemon games. I do a lot of, like, Let's Plays. It's probably going to be my main device. But, yeah. I say that because gaming is becoming more and more popular in my life. I invested on some little devices. But for stream itself, I really want to get into playing Pokemon Champions. And I do kind of want to review the Pokemon Champions website with you guys and give you guys my little ideas on them as we move along. And this will lead into our big Pokemon conversation for the podcast breakdown. So hold on for this. So Pokemon Champions will arrive on the Nintendo Switch in April 2026. I believe it's going to be very early in April, mostly because in 1 month after this comes out, there's LA Regionals, and I believe that they want to use this software for LA Regionals. I don't know that. That is not a confirmation for me. But I wouldn't be too surprised if LA Regionals wouldn't be the first major tournament that uses this software. We know that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's last online season is going to be in April, and it's just going to run until the end of service whenever they stop running it. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be running for a while. Probably definitely not until the end, until the Wind and Waves run. So this is going to be the primary way of playing Pokemon. I'm definitely going to be running this game on stream, and it's just going to be the original way of playing Pokemon. You're going to have double battles, single battles. Get ready for an experience, everything that you love about Pokemon battles all in one place, and Pokemon Champions. This new battle focused game will feature familiar mechanics, such as Pokemon types, abilities, and moves, creating an environment conducive to a rich and variety strategies for new and experienced trainers alike. They did the press drop on Pokemon Day. These are going to be the way your characters look, which I kind of think is cool. They make it look very sporty. I like that. And I know they're going to do like a lot of character customization. It's primarily where you're going to be spending your paid gems on is making your character look very unique to you. And then the cool thing is that you're going to be able to assemble your team. They said very early on before Pokemon Day that you're going to be able to rent certain Pokemon, and with those rentals, you're going to be able to build teams. And I believe that they're going to probably just let you be able to rent like the one Pokemon, and then that Pokemon's going to have different move slots. I really do see the way that this game is going to monetize is going to be able to let you have a variety in move slots. A big way that these like free to play games monetize is ease of convenience. And I honestly don't mind being able to have something like, let's say I have a Hydrapple card, or I have a Hydrapple rental, or a Hydrapple on my champion, and automatically I'm given one free slot. Cool. I'll just have to, if I am planning on just playing one tournament, I can just, move my Hydrapple points around. But I personally wouldn't mind that either you do like a group, like as a trainer, I get 2-3 slots for a flat amount, or every Pokemon gets a X amount of slots for a very cheap price, maybe for like $1. I can let Hydrapple have another move slot. And that way I'm like, you spend $10, Hydrapple has 10 different slots. I don't think you'll ever use that many. But I wouldn't mind for like the paid part to be just ease of access. Let's go to the Pokemon that they're going to be talking about. In the little trailer, that you already see Hydrapple, you see Sneasler, you see Como, you see Charizard, Pikachu, Talonflame, Superior, Lucario, Feraligatr, Guinevere. These are just all popular Pokemon in general. I'm happy that they are doing a mix from generations, so that's pretty nice. Pokemon Home is going to be very big in it. If you guys don't already have it, Pokemon Home is an app on both the Switch and the Android where you can store your Pokemon. I have a premium account. I've always had a Pokemon Home premium account since they've released it, because I store all of my Pokemon in there. Kind of very dangerous, but why not? I mean, they've never let me down in 10 years. So if you have Pokemon games laying around, it'd be a good time to run through them, collect Pokemon, get Pokemon Home, transfer them Pokemon Home. I know that for free you get like 1 or 2 boxes, and then paid gives you a bunch of boxes. And I think the paid is not super expensive either. We'll joke that out for you guys. Pokemon Premium is $3 for a month, $5 for 90 days, and $16 for a year. So that's a very, very, very cost-effective way. Like I just do the year. $16 a year. Moving Pokemon all around. 6,000 Pokemon stocked up. 10 Pokemon for the Wonder Boxes. This is the Wonder Trade they do. 3 Pokemon placed in GTS. You can participate and host in room trades. I don't think the judging, you should probably move the judging down to basics, especially because I think IVs are not going to be that big of a thing. And medals. I don't know nothing about medals, but it's kind of cool. Like, it's pretty nice. I know a lot of people complain like, oh, so much subscriptions, everything is so paid. It's really if you're just a competitive player, to be honest with you. I already kind of like that, like, oh, some other Pokemon that are being shown off in the trailers. Wishmacots, Scizor, Armarouge, Mimikyu, Surana, Conkeldurr, Gang, Leafeon, Palafin. So yeah, a little bit of like things that are going to happen. So you get trial recruitment. You get to be able to try a Pokemon for free. It looks like you try them for free for 7 days. And then you can use VPs for permanent recruitment, 1,000 VPs. I wonder how many VPs they're going to give you. Free VPs are going to give you a week. And then permanent recruitment, so you can just keep the Pokemon slot forever. And then, okay, recruiting Pokemon is even faster. You can also recruit Pokemon by using tickets to the VPs. Items such as quick coupons and teammate tickets are available. These are permanently obtained through missions in-game, so you'll be able to get Pokemon through missions in-game. By using quick coupons, you can shorten how long you must wait to recruit a Pokemon by 1 hour per coupon. And by using teammate tickets, you can permanently recruit Pokemon without using VP. Okay, so you can do permanent recruitment with teammate tickets. That's cool. And these are really just for people who don't have like Pokemon saved up in bank. I'm pretty sure they'll make it so that like some formats would be strictly recruited Pokemon and some formats would be all Pokemon. So I wouldn't be too surprised if there's a mixture of that. Train your Pokemon. So you'll be able to do stat points, you'll be able to do moves pretty easily, and you can use training tickets to get more VPs. So that's not bad. Oh, and they already teased Mega Dragonite. So this is a lot of stuff that happened on the pre-release news. So that is all the, I think this is the stuff from Pokemon Day. So Switch, details on recruitments, details on the thing. So I made like one of my most popular TikToks right now is a TikTok explaining that Pokemon Go is probably going to be the most valuable Pokemon app ever. So yeah, if you guys will go on my TikTok, you'll guys see it's like my number one TikTok is almost 10K, or I mean 100K. And it was telling people that like for casual, super casual players, the easiest way for them to play this game and have like little fun Pokemon parties will be like catching Pokemon on Pokemon Go, transferring them on Pokemon Home, and then sending them the visit on Pokemon Champions. And this is super casual. Like if you're just like, hey guys, let's do a little party, go out, catch Pokemon, come back home, we're gonna swap them in, and then we're all gonna throw them up on Champions. Super cool. If you're already a competitive player or you already own the game, Scarlet and Violet is probably going to be the most valuable thing because there's going to be so many free resources or so many in-game resources you're going to be able to deposit and withdraw into home and send the visit into champions. So this is probably going to be the biggest thing. I'm not items for Pokemon and training. And then Legends ZA is also going to let you give you like all the megas that you don't have access to. And this is going to be super important because megas are going to be the first format for Pokemon champions. Ooh, and then there's going to be helpful trainers that help you get set up. So, like, as you enter Pokemon Champions for the first time, you'll be greeted by a variety of friendly faces that will always be around to help you prepare for battles. Tutorial will help you get into the swing of things by helping you enter on competitions. Kit will help your partner up with Pokemon at Roster Ranch. Roster Ranch, okay. And Corey will share new strategies in the Pokemon Champions game. So, there's going to be Roster Ranch. So, I think it's going to be more of a, like, hey, you're going to get this Pokemon, you're going to get a Hatterena on your roster, and Hatterena is going to have to unlock new move slots, new moves, all that other stuff. That would be nice. Okay. And then there's already forums and stuff for you guys, online streaming FAQs. Let's see. And this is just Pokemon companies just basically saying like, hey, you guys can stream this game. As long as you're not making any of your Jesus money off of our property, you can stream the game. So yeah, Pokemon Champions definitely going to be more of a mainstay here on the Twitch channel. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, if you guys don't know, I actually have a Pokemon gaming channel or a gaming channel over on YouTube, MARZ Metro Gaming. We're probably going to be dropping videos starting later this month, early next month to get primed up for Pokemon Champions. It's going to be fun. Now that we did that, let me get into my little freaking rants, you people. So let's do this. So if you guys were on TikTok recently, you would have known that I got into a little bully v bully about people and enjoying Pokemon. And I kind of did want to talk about it on the podcast a little bit, get this energy out of my system. Give me a minute, guys. Let me reset this up real quick. Okay. So I got into it a little bit on TikTok and on Twitter over Pokemon. And it was supposed to be because Fire Red Leaf Green got dropped. And people were being real, like, just disrespectful about people enjoying this game. Real quick, disclaimer. This is not a slab against people who emulate in ROM. But I do think people do not understand what's the point of emulation in ROMs and why people have a moral gray area in it. One, the best thing about ROM and emulations is to enjoy software in video games that are not readily available because of like time, ease of access to hardware, access to software. I'm gonna be honest with you, you're never gonna hear me sit here and complain about PSP, PS Vita emulation, PlayStation emulation, people in America enjoying Japanese only franchises or translated franchises because like that's the point of emulation in ROM. You should be able to enjoy games and art that you don't regularly get to enjoy because, you know, they're region locked, or buying a PSP is super expensive now in 2026. So to enjoy it authentically, it's hard. And also at some point, some of these companies just don't profit on these at a certain point. Like if you were to go and get like Dragon Quest, like the original Dragon Quest collection, it's not like Square Enix or Nintendo's gonna profit off of that, off of a physical you buying that game. So at some point, it is ethical to just buy the game or just rip the game off the line and emulate it. But it was, I could never really justify it for like Pokemon games. I mean, not all the time. Like for retro games, maybe. Like if you really wanted to enjoy classic Pokemon games, yeah, it's really hard to get those because cartridges are like in the hundreds, in the thousands. I mean, in the hundreds. Software, I mean, getting hardware, it's in the hundreds. Like getting a Game Boy Advance, it's not super easy all the time. And you don't know what like quality is in. So emulation and ROMing has its place. But also when these games are super rarely available, it is kind of goofy to like emulate or download the base game and enjoy it. Now on the flip side for Pokemon, there is a very, very big ROM hacking scene. Fan games are a very big thing. And I think those things should be defended into the ground. But to be mad at people for wanting to buy the $20 ports of Fire Red and Leaf Green because they want an authentic and official way to play their Pokemon games that are going to be connected to both home, so they can enjoy things like Pokemon Champions in the future. I think you being on like the negative side of that argument is a little silly. When your argument is you shouldn't be giving like greedy companies your money, it's kind of like a blind blanket statement when like, first of all, Nintendo and Pokemon are not the same company. Yes, Nintendo, a lot of I think the Pokemon's mistake is Nintendo's fault. I think the production cycle is very big and is mandated by Nintendo. But Pokemon Company treats us very well. These games are not super polished games, but the core of these games are very solid, really well done. Outside of this, outside of the products that they produce, the video games, the card games, Unite, and Go, when they ask us to show up for these games in real life, the pageantry, the production value is very high. So both in and outside the game, we're getting very above average experiences, better than most other video game companies. When we talk about Nintendo, that's a very big thing. Like, I do not like how Nintendo treats the Smash community. You have one of the coolest party fighting games in the world, and you don't do anything with it to promote both the hardware and the software that it comes on. And I think they should have definitely been running the Smash circuit when Smash was both on the 3DS and on the Switch. But hey, they did patches. I guess that was enough. But Nintendo, like Pokemon Company does not do that. Like Pokemon Company is actively involved in the competitive scene of their games. And I think that's the thesis of this, is the fact that like when you hear complaints online about Pokemon and the things that Pokemon could do better, it doesn't come from anybody who's actually enjoying Pokemon for what it is. It comes from RPG enjoyers. And they are some of the most miserable people in this world. To ask Pokemon, which is a kind of like this cozy, chill RPG for middle schoolers, and ask it to push it to be in like Elden Ring level, have it pushed up to be Persona level, or even trying to get it to be what Digimon is, it's kind of silly. So that's the argument I'm making today. Pokemon is not an RPG franchise anymore. It's an esports. And most of the decisions that Pokemon Company makes around that is because it is an esports. 2, $20 ports are not the end of the world. It lets Pokemon Company know that we are willing to pay for these ports and lets them re-release a lot of these things faster, especially when the next generation 4, 5, 6, and 7 are going to be harder to port than the Game Boy Advance games have been. And 3, no one's defending Nintendo or Game Freak in these cases. A lot of the times people are very neutral on these things and are just saying that, hey, supporting these things mean we probably get more of these things. I haven't seen a lot of like straight up bootlicker or Nintendo can do no wrong comments. So like the disenfranchising on the other way seems super weird. For a group of people who on average spend tons of money on their nerd stuff, and definitely be spending more than most Pokemon people do. But let's get into this. Let's talk about authenticity though. Let's talk about authenticity. So, Pokemon has been around forever. 30 years actually. You know, the best way of enjoying these games have been like on the cartridges. Like, I think my first version of it was like playing Gold and Silver on the Game Boy. No, I played Gold and Silver, which was a Game Boy Color game on a Game Boy Advance. And I remember it just sticking out of the Game Boy, and I just thought it was always funny and goofy. But that was the first time I've ever experienced these games like tangibly. I remember not getting Crystal, and then getting Ruby, spending my own money buying Ruby at Target before my mom dropping me off at Christmas. Not dropping me off at Christmas, dropping me off for the weekend at my grandma's. She took me to Target. I got some batteries and I got Pokemon Ruby and played that game all weekend. Super fun game. Me and Torchic were lit. And I'm thinking about it, like, it's just so hard to just replicate that authentic style. You're never gonna get a one-to-one to it. I think a lot of people on the ROM and emulation scene might get a little ones up because there's a market for like these devices that just feel good in your hands, that have like those tangible click clacks and analog triggers and stuff. But man, it is also a really cool experience playing these games, or going to be able to play these games on Switch. I haven't bought Leaf Green yet, but playing these games on the Switch is going to be a different experience too. It's going to be another type of authentic experience. I think people are going to play, like, old people are going to play it in the handheld mode and enjoy seeing that big old game, that big old screen, and seeing those little pixels and have nostalgia hit. This is going to be the first time we'll be able to play this on like big TVs on Nintendo native hardware. That's going to be a different experience. And I think people are willing to pay for those authentic experiences. And $20 is not too bad for that. I think about like movies. You know, this is a movie podcast a big time. And I think about all the times that I really love just going to the theater and spending like $30 on the popcorn, the soda, and sitting in a nice cozy chair and just like turning my brain off for 2 hours. Like, that authenticity cannot be replicated. Sometimes when I'm at home and I watch movies, I'm on my phone, I'm goofing, I'm like hearing things outside the window and trying to stay safe sometimes. Like, people sometimes just like investing into an authentic experience. And emulation doesn't give you that same feeling all the time. Like, you have to stretch for it. I'm even looking at the amount of like hardware that I've invested in to make sure that my handheld experience now is authentic, because you just don't have good handhelds anymore. But that's a different conversation. A lot of people like to compare like Mega Man, Scott Pilgrim re-releases as a point to like times that are like, oh, you don't have to spend $20 for a game that has no modern updates. But on that argument, can we talk about this though? Like, can we really talk about how the Mega Man collection is the Mega Man Battle Network collection? I think you can get this on the Nintendo game or the Nintendo eShop right now for what? I think it was like $11 on sale. But okay, so the Battle Network Legacy Collection, which comes with, there's 2 different volumes. I think on sale it's like $11 sometimes. Oh yeah, it's $11 right now. Oh, probably should pick this up. So it's $11 for a while. Yeah, sure, you could get like half the games for $11. And sure, Mega Man is a very solid game. Don't get me wrong. But this isn't Pokemon. Like, I don't get to customize my Mega Man to be in my personal NetNavi and then go online and play battles with people. Which I think in the day of AI, the day of battle games, this would be a very fun game to revamp and actually put some time, money into in a little like battle game. But like, Capcom's not doing that. Capcom does not want to do that. And this is why they don't mind putting this on sale 67%, because they know that like you're gonna just buy it off of nostalgia and you're not gonna get any additional value beyond it. And on the flip side, when you buy like the Fire Red, Leaf Green versions and you play this game, it just makes it easier for you to transfer these Pokemon to your home so you can enjoy it on Pokemon. I was talking about being able to like play this game, collect Pokemon, transferring them home, and then doing like a Fire Red, Leaf Green format on Pokemon Champions when it drops. So it's very, very, very possible to do that. And then people are also complaining that like, oh, but you can't get it. Like, you gotta pay for every single language of the game. Well, one, these games didn't come natively with different versions, so please be a little more careful. Please use your brain and pick the language you want. But also, that's so silly to argue about. These games are different games. There's different names, different cultural contexts in these games. And it's not as simple as just like swapping out language files. Also, they swapped out language files. This like file would be bigger and have a lot of bloatware to it. So just be smart and pick one. Oh, I did all that without my little background. Little bit of background on me. The reason why I think I have a little authority on talking about Pokemon as a franchise is I used to run a gaming channel where I played Pokemon. I don't think you can look it up right now because, whoa, hold up. Let's do a super blast from the past. You can't find my things up here because I have privated them. Someone else tried to steal my name and do Wi-Fi battles. Crazy. We're gonna see what that's all about. Are they still making content too? But wow. This is me and my homie D-Rod doing a Pokemon Wi-Fi battle back in Diamond and Pearl formats. D-Rod and me are still homies to this day. And this is just me and him.
Weird that he'd go out to Scizor, but yeah, he can't bullet punch to break the sub or
crazy. This is me and D-Rod playing Pokemon Show, like Pokemon Diamond and Pearl for, I want to say it's OU.
So yeah, here I go to my out to his subscribe.
Let's see.
Happy it hit, because if it didn't, I was pretty much screwed.
Oh yeah, I lost this one.
And yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing Pokemon. I've been playing Pokemon for 16 years. This video is 16 years old. So I'm pretty much, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to Pokemon. I've been in multiple Pokemon battle leagues. I've been in multiple draft leagues. I kind of know the direction that Pokemon wants to go to as a franchise. So that's my little authority on that. Yeah, I did singles for Generation 4, 5, and 6, VGC for 7, took a break in Generation 8. I've been casually playing all of Generation 9 and about to hop back in Generation 10. And I used to have that small gun elite mindset too. Singles only, doubles. But VGC changed me. I really do like the community around VGC. Seeing players like Wolfie, seeing players like some of the, like a lot of this other, I have to name drop Wolfie. Let me not put myself on the blast like that. But just seeing the community and how they get together, being on the Showdown servers for VGC is a different feeling too. It's softened me up a lot in the Pokemon space. So when I say that Pokemon is no longer an RPG and it is more of a esports battle game, that's where it comes from. The fact that I have been playing the battles for a long time, and I've definitely been seeing how playing more of the official battle format lets me see how Pokemon balances the game, why Pokemon make some of the decisions that they make, and how they compromise a lot with the production cycle, with the competitiveness and with the graphics. Because when you're dropping a game every 4 years for the competitive scene to stay fresh, and you're building a new engine for that game every single time, you kind of have to make a lot of cuts. And I think Pokemon Company does pretty good with the way they do their cuts. So when you do have a company that does all of this stuff so much, you kind of don't mind when they're doing their ports. They're a little overpriced. I really wish Fire Red and Leaf Green were $30 for both ROMs together. Like, even if it just had a $30 bundle, I would be super happy. But to be able to enjoy all of Fire Red Leaf Green for $40, the cost of original cartridge, it's not too bad either. But showing that support for something that might be a little above market price lets us know that everything else around this product is going to be well maintained. I think a lot of people don't understand that Pokemon Company USA doesn't have a video game budget to work off of. So they have to do a lot of their promo, a lot of their work, a lot of their employment based off of these profits too. Like, it's not like this is a multi-million-dollar company that's just bankrolling everything. Like, they have employees and everything. And Pokemon's always hiring people in their community to do judge work, to do stream work, to do all of this production work. So it's always giving back into its community. And if we show their proper support on these $20 ports, when they port over these DS games, which are going to be significantly harder to port, they are going to take more time and money to port, because you're not going to be able to do a one-on-one for twin screens unless they do an attachment for the Switch, which that's going to be a lot of development costs to do an attachment for the Switch for dual screen, or to rework some of these games to work on one screen. Diamond and Pearl has already been ported to a version for one screen, so it's not impossible. But Generation 4, 5, and 6, Generation 4, 5, 6, and 7 are going to have to be remade in some shape or form to be able to be enjoyed natively, either on Switch, on iOS, because we have champions on Android. We might be able to get Pokemon ports on Android. It's just going to take more work. So yeah, we're going to have to give them a little bit more money so they can put out that work. So when they do drop these games, they're not dropping them at market value. They're dropping them at that $40, $50 mark. It would be nice that if Diamond and Pearl got remade, it's already got remade. If Platinum got remade into a definitive edition, if it was just Diamond and Pearl, like upgraded BDSP with some cooler stuff. Black 2 and White 2 is definitely going to need a rework because those were done on, I believe, the new DS, the new DSi software. So it's gonna have to be a hard rework, or they're gonna have to just port the game differently. Same for the 3DS games. They're either gonna have to get port completely differently, hopefully on one screen with a menu option onto the side, or they're gonna have to just rework the game and give us definitive editions. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. It's nothing but more uphill from here. Honest though, I do have some complaints for Game Freak and Pokemon. I really do have some things I want them to fix. Some things I want them to do better so we as a consumer base can enjoy their product better. One, you need to make a game that VGC or doubles is the main gimmick. I am playing through Coliseum right now. I'm playing through Gale of Darkness right now. Those are games that are doubles. They're games that even the starter Pokemon, their movesets are tailored to be for doubles. And I think if you want more people to play doubles, you should make a game, preferably a turn-based game that is primarily doubles-based, where all the Pokemon included are more doubles-focused, and that the movesets are more doubles-focused, and that, weather conditions, terrains, all the double mechanics are utilized a little bit more. They try to do this in the Blueberry Academy DLC, where some more, like, all of the battles are double battles, but I think you can take that even further. When it comes to Pokemon Champions, number 2, treat Pokemon Champions like you treat TCGO. I think they're already not doing this because of some of the monetization points already. But this should be a game that you should be able to enjoy with little to no money invested into it. I should be able to have a rotation of 2 to 3 teams to play every format without putting too much money into the game, or no money at all. TCGO, even though it has tons of bugs, and we can absolutely complain about the bugs in that game, it is one of the most accessible ways to enjoy the card game and test the card game for almost free. And then that one incentivizes you to go buy TCG packs because you get free code cards. For $4, you get a physical pack and a digital pack. I mean, unless you're buying secondhand, or unless you're buying Prismatic Evolution, which is like $7 to $10 a pack still. But hey, and that's another thing though. Like, side note, people over here complaining that like, oh, Fire Red, Leaf Green should have been physical releases. You definitely don't know Pokemon at that point because the physical releases for these games get scalped into the ground. It's crazy. You need better VG support on a local level. As a person who has been trying to get more VGC in his town, it's not the best right now because like a lot of people don't know about the VGC mechanics to the fullest potential, so they don't know how to build teams and come to locals. This is something you definitely can fix in Champions with a lot of tutorials, a lot of like guided events, and probably letting the first couple of months of Champions be very, very in-game currency rewarding. Make people come into this game and enjoy it. Also, music CDs. They actually did this in Pokemon Day. They're gonna do that little Game Boy music loader. I think that's super cool. And if you have like Nintendo Online, you can just listen to all the tracks. But honestly, just drop some CDs too. Put them on iTunes, put them on Spotify. That'd be super cool too. Community address. People in the community, you guys are wilding out too much. These are addressing some of the most basic complaints in the community. Why aren't these games on Nintendo Switch Online? Because being able to manipulate your save state in a Pokemon game breaks the whole entire Pokemon economy. And also, don't you want to own the physical copy or own the copies or licensings of these games? I know a lot of people say that because of licensings, you don't own the games, but licenses rarely get revoked unless you're really hard trying to break the term of services. So pretty much it is owning the game and the data in it. So $20 is not terrible. Also, if you have the game installed into your Switch, you can hard reset as many times as you need to get certain things, like getting multiple legendary Pokemons like Deoxys every time you beat the game. Something that you probably would need in mythical formats. Multi-region games also mean that if you bought a Fire Red and a Leaf Green for 2 different languages, you can you can do the shining breeding methods easier, allowing you as a single player enjoy some of the multiplayer aspects of the game a little bit better. But big thing that I will say Pokemon Company can do. Pokemon Company, your fan base is yearning for an RPG. Start putting this on the regular rotation when it comes to game releases. Please drop Pokemon. I think Pokemon Company could get a lot of slack taken off of them if they were to just keep a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon RPG game in rotation on the regular. You only have to release this once every 5 years or once every 4 years with a super edition every 12 years. You get to explore different parts of the region. We can see just a Pokemon only region. There's so many cool concepts you could do with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. And I think this is a super lost opportunity. I think people enjoy this franchise. People really do love playing it. And I think if you were to drop all 1,000 Pokemon into this game, it wouldn't be too hard to program. It wouldn't be too hard to balance. And people would enjoy it. It would give them a 90-hour RPG to enjoy, which apparently people are yearning for. Yeah, I will say that Pokemon is fumbling the bag when it comes to mystery dungeons. And Pokemon Legend games are also really fun too. And you don't have to rush to the developments of those. I understand that you kind of want them to be like towards the tail end of a generation so that you can add them to formats. But man, don't put them on a regular cycle. Not at this point. Let's make them fun. On that note, if you guys want to go buy Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, go pick them up, you guys. They're not that bad. They're not that bad of a price. They're not that bad of a game. And they're a really fun, cozy experience. If you feel like you want to enjoy Pokemon at a bigger level, if I were you, I would start investing into Pokemon or start getting ready for Pokemon Champions. Maybe I'll do another segment next week where we talk about like how to start in VGC, because there's a lot of videos you can watch, a lot of good content creators, and even things you can do inside Scarlet and Violet and Pokemon Go and other games to start prepping for this game. But VGC is a very fun format to get into. Doubles is a very fun format, and it's not too slow. It's not boring. It's like, yeah, it's a turn-based RPG game, turn-based competitive game, but you're rarely playing past turn 10, turn 12, unless your opponent is purposely trying to stall you out. And that's not really viable in VGC. So if you really want to enjoy Pokemon beyond the RPG aspect, play Pokemon Champions or start playing Pokemon VGC. It's going to be super fun. In conclusion, let people enjoy what they want to enjoy, especially the company that does not treat us terribly. Don't be mad when people are mad at you for being dicks to them, because honestly, it's unnecessary sometimes. And enjoy Pokemon, y'all. Okay, y'all. Okay. We're getting towards the end of the podcast. I do have to do my review real quick. So let's do this, y'all. One last thing today is talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. I definitely should have been a little more prepared here. But today, y'all, we'll talk Sonic the Hedgehog, one of my favorite little franchises. Let me find the reviews. Okay, guys. For the next couple of weeks when we're doing these breakdowns, the little meat of the shows, we're going to be going over, for the next 3 weeks, we're going over 90 properties. We're talking about Sonic 1 and 2 today. We're just going to review the movies, let you guys know if they're worth watching, worth enjoying. Next week, I'm going to be doing a breakdown for Sonic 3. The thesis of that one is going to be, is Sonic 3 a faithful adaptation? And talk about the themes of Sonic 3, the themes of Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow the Hedgehog, one of my favorite characters in the Sonic franchise. And then after that, we're going to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm going to talk about a review for that movie. So, yeah. And then after that, I got Euphoria. But right now, let's talk about Sonic 1. Let me stand up when I do this. So, real quick, Sonic the Hedgehog is actually a very interesting video game movie. I think at a time and an age where like video game movies were slowly but surely getting bits and bits better, Sonic 1 in and by itself was really a home run. It did what a movie like this should have done. It was a family movie. It was a kids movie. The morals of the story was really well. It's about learning to be responsible and trying to find where you belong. I think Sonic 1 was a really fun movie. And then because that movie did so well, and they did that little teaser towards the end of Sonic 1, they were allowed to be way more wacky or way more cartoony with Sonic 2. Able to add more Sonic lore to it, add a little more wackiness to it, add a little bit more video game be able to make it a little bit more of a video game movie. And they really did so well with number 2. I did already watch Sonic 3, and this thesis of like the responsibility of power, family, belonging, not succumbing to your pain, like these are really good moral stories for kids to be watching and viewing at their young age. And I think it's also a good reminder for us adults. It's a really good reminder for this generation of hope. Sonic is such a hopeful character, and he makes hope cool. And I think that's why a lot of people like him. Where Superman has a little corny, a little himbo-y, a little bit of a farm goofball, Sonic made being a hero cool, making speed cool, making it just excellent. Definitely in a time where like it just was not cool to do that. It was very like robotic and very. You have Transformers and Care Bears that were either robots who fought for justice or Care Bears who were little stuffed animals who didn't care at the end of the day. But so yeah, Sonic is very unique in his portrayal of being like a cool superhero. And these movies do a very good job of like talking about like being responsible and other good things. I'm rambling. But yeah. So let's talk about Sonic 1 real quick. So Sonic 1 came out. When did Sonic 1 come out? Sonic 1 came out 2020. And actually, let's talk about a little funny tidbit about this. I do remember the original Sonic design being that trash, horrible, like scary looking, realistic portrayal of Sonic. Like, let's look at that original Sonic the Hedgehog. And now looking back at it, I see what they were trying to go for. It just didn't vibe well with people. Like I can now looking back at it, I can see what they were going for the original Sonic the Hedgehog design. You know, smaller eyes to be a little more realistic, not super close. Like they were really trying to give us more of like a humanoid looking hedgehog. But this thing does look scary, and those teeth are freaking me out. I think with time it would have been a better design, but I'm happy that they went with more of the exaggerated eyes, nice round ovals. Screw the ad we just got. Like, this isn't terrible, but this definitely would not have sold as well as this did. And I think it's just because they leaned a little bit more in the iconic round eyes. They did Gangster Paradise, which is a very 90s song for the reveal. Yeah, I think they cooked with it. They cooked with it. With that said, though, this movie starts off with a little bit of backstory on Sonic himself. You get to see the Echidna Warriors attack Sonic's mother's figure, Long Claw, this big old owl lady. For me, I know humanoid owls are not super like weird for Sonic the Hedgehog, but so it was kind of cool to see it was cool to see a mom figure for Sonic. But in this attack of the Echidna Warriors, Sonic has to escape. He is given the rings to teleport to Earth into a place called Green Hill Zone. In Green Hill Zone, Sonic McLittle Hedgehog has to live a very secret life among the people, always being out of eyesight, but also seeing the people of Green Hill grow. Over time, you get to see that Sonic kind of grows attached to everybody secretly in the town. And he definitely grows attached to someone he likes to call the Donut Lord, our resident human character, Tom Wazowski, which is really cool too, though. Like, seeing, like, human characters are not super foreign in Sonic properties, but Tom is a really cool, interesting guy, though. Sonic's always keeping an eye on Tom because Tom is the local sheriff. I think that's where Sonic gets his little sense of justice from. But as he's observing Tom, you're learning that Tom is kind of getting sick of the small town life. He's kind of growing out of Hill Zone. He's kind of growing out of Green Hills. Kind of want to go to Montana, which is not Montana. He wants to go to Seattle, become a big city cop. San Francisco. I don't want to see Seattle, which isn't too bad. It's not a bad dream to have. But you kind of get this sense that Tom is needed in this town. He's the only competent adult in this town full of weirdos. I don't know why Green Hill Zone gives me very much like, what's that show? What's that one show on Disney? Green Hill Zone gives me very much Gravity Fall vibes. Like, it's just a town full of like wacky, weird characters. But one night, while Sonic is out trying to play in the basketball fields all by himself, he accidentally releases a little too much of his power, causing a spike of energy that draws the attention of the US government. The US government, not knowing what to do with the surge of power, comes and brings in Dr. Ivo Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey, to investigate. The first act does a really good job setting up all our main three guys of the show, of this franchise. Our little small town cop who wants to become a big time hero. Sonic, who wants to become, honestly, just trying to find somewhere to belong. He's been on the run for so long, and he's just trying to find somewhere to be. And now that his power has been caught by the government, he has to go on the run. Because he did get caught, Sonic did get attacked by Tom, tranquilized, and ended up losing his ring pouch, which kind of starts this whole entire conflict. But while Ben Schwartz's Sonic is on this cross road trip, you kind of get this idea that he wants to find somewhere to belong. He's been on the run so long, he hasn't had his mom figure in so long. And Tom kind of understands where he comes from. Tom not really feeling comfortable in Green Hill Zone definitely understands where Sonic comes from and sympathizes with him. So definitely because it's Tom's fault that Sonic lost his rings, aka the cool teleporting rings. Tom does feel a little bit of sympathy and decides to help Sonic on his adventure. I do kind of like this joke that like the guy who plays Tom, who's also what was I gonna say? Tom, who's Tom's actor, he also plays Cyclops, and he plays Cyclops in X-Men, but he also plays like the main guy in that Rabbit movie, that Easter movie. And I like how there's always that joke that like he's always playing against like some CGI dude. It just cracks me up. Cracks me up that he's always have to play against like some little like green ball or something. It just cracks me up. Anyway. Now, let's actually talk about some of these characters, because Jim Carrey's Ivo Robotnik cracks me up. And honestly, this is the perfect time to talk about it, is that kind of at this part, like this 2/5 part. Because Jim Carrey plays Dr. Robotnik in such a weird and interesting way. Because like all the quirky mannerisms, the quirky ways to talk, the eccentric rhythm of the way he speaks is very much Jim Carrey acting. So yeah, the very exaggerated tones of speaking, the very eccentric pattern, that's very much Jim Carrey's acting style. But I think putting that acting style with the mindset of like, I'm already better than most people around me, this air of superiority, I think that's what gives Jim Carrey that sauce when it comes to Dr. Robotnik. He plays that arrogant jerk so well. And honestly, it is what kept me coming back to these movies over and over again, on top of Ben Schwartz's Sonic portrayal. Jim Carrey definitely is a talented soul. And I think he should kind of work on his Robotnik impression so he can take over the role in the video games a little bit. I don't know. Maybe we should have a Sonic movie video game franchise. I'm just saying. He does a really good job. I love this scene where Robotnik and Tom are going back and forth because Robotnik tracked Sonic to his house. Oh no, did my computer freeze? Ooh, yeah, it did. Okay, I'm gonna keep talking because the stream is still going. Ooh, okay. There it goes. Because it kind of also portrays why both of these characters are really good in these roles. Tom is playing like this very good, honest cop. Like, because Tom is like the only competent adult in this whole entire town, and people are just expected to be goofy and dumb, he just gets one over Robotnik, and it pisses Robotnik off, which cracks me up. Robotnik is very, very like intellectually smart, which no doubt about it. But like, because Robotnik's so full of himself, he gets to be tricked by Tom, who kind of just has normal common sense. Something that's very, very rare in these kid movies. Funny. Like when Tom is like, oh yeah, you know my buddy down in the electric company, and Robotnik's like, yeah, we just had this and this. Tom turns around and says, he actually works at the bus company. And Robotnik is just caught off guard, which lets Tom just get the one up on him. And it definitely plays into the dynamic. I love it. I guess this is also a good time to talk about our boy, Ben Schwartz from Sonic the Hedgehog, before we get too deep into it. Ben Schwartz is on this parade of playing every blue 90s character, Leonardo, Dewey, Sonic. And honestly, he plays a pretty good Sonic. This Sonic is meant to be a little more immature, a little more unconfident, very more like young teenager style. And I think Ben's voice really lends to that. He plays the little like confused teenager very well. And then that voice just has that certain like nasal flair to it that when he needs to be snarky, he needs to be quick witted. The jokes just roll off the tongue. I think he's a really good match for Sonic, no lie. So as they all are just tricking and fumbling, and Sonic has a way to escape the robots with Tom, they start this cross-country road trip to get back the rings from San Francisco. I like how during this road trip, which classic road trip movie, gotta love it, Tom is learning how he can be even more, how the people of Green Hill need him more. He, as you know, the only responsible adult, he left his deputy behind to take care of the town. And Wade is not. I love Wade. We'll talk more about him when we get to the second movie. But Wade is the perfect example of why Tom is so important in the town. Wade is a giant man-child who does not know even the basic operation manners. You can tell that he got into the deputy program because he was the only other candidate, which is bad. But this also lets Tom know that he's really is needed in that town. Robotnik is over here running things because he's the smartest guy and everybody else just can't stand up to him. And it also shows how reliant a lot of the town folks are. I also like how the bar scene shows a little more chiller Sonic. It shows Sonic in a more of a people's atmosphere. I like how, like, even though he's a very he's very speedy, he does the little dart trick and he doesn't get a single one in. So him and Tom are forced to sit down, chill, and actually have a little bit of fun. And it also shows Tom how he can show up in Sonic's life. Sonic's never had no older brother, big brother, male figure in his life to show him how to to use his powers responsibly, or to just show him how to be a good sport. And that's important for someone who has a lot of super speed. It's kind of like the Peter Parker quote, with great power comes great responsibility. They say an offshoot of that quote in the second movie, but it is very much a time of the movie where both of them get to bond. And through this bonding, both of them decide that Sonic is going to stay here on Earth, and Sonic's going to stay on Earth, and Tom is going to stay in Green Hill, especially with a maniac like Robotnik on the loose. I'm not going to get super deep into like the plot. It is more about the journey. But I would like to say that like even the super speed scenes are super fun. I think there was like a trend in this time with like Quicksilver, both Quicksilvers, about having Speedster's always having that one good scene, even the Flash in Justice League. And I think Sonic's speed scene is really good. But Sonic sits here and tries to fight Robotnik all over the country, saving Tom and Maddie from danger, and eventually gets hurt in the middle of all this action, all this craziness. But Sonic really gets to tap to his infinite speed, his true speed power, once he is defended by the people of Green Hill. And Tom sits there and defends him. He chooses connection over being alone and realizes that he's stronger with the people around him. And he gets this cool little power up. He ends up beating Robotnik, getting a super cool speed power up. But both Tom and Sonic get a new appreciation on Earth of Green Hill Zone, and they become a small little family. And they deal with Robotnik by throwing a big old coin, throwing one of the rings, teleporting to a mushroom planet, and tossing them right there, tossing them through it. Dealing with the Robotnik problem once and for all. Tom, his girlfriend Maddie, who is a minor character throughout this film, she's a little bit bigger in the second film. They all become a nice little small family, and Sonic becomes a part of the gang. You do get a little teaser to see a little more video game accurate Dr. Robotnik, Jim Carrey. And at the very, 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 very end, you do get a small little teaser of Sonic's little special pal, Tails, who is a very big part of the second movie. Now, I didn't want to go super far to do this, but Sonic 1 was a really good movie. A little bit of a character breakdown, because that's the best way of enjoying this. This movie makes Sonic this kind of like lonely but hyperactive teenager stuck in a small town, which is very fitting why he is so antsy, because hyperactive kid, small town. Definitely wanted to break out from that. He's not very much a troublemaker, but once, he causes trouble, he owns up to it and tries to take responsibility. But the arc in this movie is him learning that responsibility doesn't have to be taken alone. That the people in the town, the people he chooses to be around, can hold that responsibility with him. And he does deserve to have a family. Tom is the other way of that arc. That Tom doesn't need to go to a big city to get a spotlight on him. That he's very important and he's very critical to the community around him. He learns about family the other way, that he doesn't need to be the spotlight to be a pillar in his family. And that Maddie's going to love him no matter what. The townsfolk always appreciate him. And now he has a new lease of that appreciation through Sonic, who now sees Tom as a big brother father figure. Maddie. It's so easy for these live action video game movies to make the female protagonist or the female love interest this snooty, jerky punk. But Maddie is such a strong, supportive character in this film. She supports Tom the whole entire time, and she doesn't force him to either go to Seattle or stay in Green Hill. When she gets rolled into the madness, the craziness of the plot, she just rolls with it. And ultimately, she's the one who tells Sonic that he is part of the family. You kind of get it through the subplots behind her that she's very family-oriented. You get to meet her sister and her niece. And it looks like that she's just trying to find somewhere to be, try to give Tom the family that he deserves. Because she has a family and she knows what family means. And then you get that nice little Dr. Robotnik. I like how Jim Carrey really just fully portrays the Dr. Robotnik motif. As these movies go along, he becomes more and more like Dr. Robotnik. And it's just hilarious. And to even speak of a character that we don't really talk much about, because he does kind of have a minor role. He's not the biggest like character in this film because he's just like a sidekick for Dr. Robotnik. But Dr. Stones continues the tradition of underrated henchmen. Dr. Robotnik always has a henchman around. Usually they're robots, a pair of robots that are comic relief to his evil genius. But Dr. Stone isn't some bumbling idiot. He seems like he is the second smartest person in the room. And Dr. Robotnik respects that. And I think you kind of get this sense that Robotnik likes Stone because Stone just knows how to adjust. Stone, unlike most people who just quit or will get lost into the storm of the things, where Stone will just quickly adapt because he knows that that's what the doctor needs. That's what the doctor needs. He's very much a fanboy, but I love him. And in every movie, he is such a grounding force for Robotnik, honestly. Everyone I've seen, he's been more and more better. But yeah, let's talk about the second one. Let's talk about the second movie. Oh, the soundtrack. You're gonna hear me make the same complaint in a couple. Hear me make this comment in a couple weeks, but as a complaint. But I like the pop culture songs in these. Sonic is such a pop culture character that you can throw pop culture songs, especially you could throw 90s and current pop culture songs into this movie. And as long as they're thematically going with the archetype of our characters or the theme of the scene, it's fire. It's nice. But man, while we sit here and talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, and it being just a shotgun of a movie, you did not think that the sequel was gonna go as hard as it did. And you can't get mad at it. Like, to be honest with you, the movie did good. It did good numbers. So yeah, it definitely was going to get a sequel. But where and they already teased it with Tails, but you kind of are surprised. You kind of are surprised how well they do the sequel. Because it's not only the fact that they add Tails. It's not the fact that they brought back Robotnik. Like it is a classic video game. And it's not only that they add Tails to be Sonic's partner, but it's also the fact that they literally do Sonic and Knuckles the plot. It is literally Dr. Robotnik comes back because he ends up meeting Knuckles, tricks Knuckles into teaming up with him, and through that team up, they try to destroy Sonic. And through that, it was the perfect way of tying this already like Sonic 1 adjacent movie to Sonic and Knuckles the video game, and then start putting tidbits of other Sonic franchises in it. So Sonic 2 definitely goes harder in that respect. So let's do this little setup. Sonic is in Green Hill, trying and failing to be an irresponsible hero, going to Seattle every once in a while, saving lives, but also committing tons and tons of property damage. But he's living comfortably here in Green Hill Zone. Him and Tom are hanging out, chilling. But Tom definitely knows that Sonic is sneaking out every night. And he's sneaking every night to go to Seattle to do things. And he's trying to get Sonic to be like, hey man, I know you want to be a hero so bad. And don't get me wrong, with your powers, there's going to be a time where you're going to need to be a hero. But don't rush. One big thing about Sonic 1 is the idea of rushing to responsibility. Responsibility is going to find you, so don't rush to it. And that's truly what Tom is trying to do. He's very much like the father figure, the brother figure. He's trying to protect Sonic, but also Sonic kind of like I don't need it. I don't really need it. But Tom and Maddie need to go to a wedding. They want to leave Sonic at home because, you know, not everybody needs to know about Sonic. Sonic don't need to be all around messing with Maddie's family. And Maddie's sister already doesn't like Tom. So while Maddie and Tom are getting ready for a wedding, Sonic is in charge of the house. Sonic's having typical teenage life. He's out here trying to have a party with the dog. And Dr. Robotnik comes knocking on the door, getting his revenge. Sonic thinking cocky, like, I'll take care of you once I can take care of you again. Ends up attacking Robotnik, and Snuggles the Echidna intros himself, and then starts molly-whopping on Sonic. Sonic has never fought anyone with the same type of power as him, so this is definitely giving him a work for his money. But Knuckles is also demanding Sonic to give him the location of the Master Emerald, the key to the Master Emerald. And Sonic doesn't know what he's talking about. While Robotnik and Knuckles are trying to attack Sonic, our little two-tail hero, Tails, comes in and saves him, and pretty much gives Sonic the rundown on what the emeralds are, letting him know that Knuckles comes from a tribe of Echidna warriors who were sworn to protect protect the emerald, that the Echidna warriors attacked Longclaw because Longclaw had the other half to that secret. And after Sonic goes through his luggage and finds the lost message from Longclaw, him and Tails go on a journey to find the Master Emerald. So, pretty cool, pretty chill. And that's pretty much just like, that is a pretty good way of introducing Tails, introducing Knuckles, and kind of getting this story on that Sonic sequel plot. Now, real quick, for a lot of people who don't know, Sonic 2 just introduced Tails as a character into the narrative, but it was Sonic 3 and then the next game, Sonic and Knuckles, that introduced Knuckles, more of the Master Emerald plot line, and kind of extended more on like the Sonic world. So Sonic 2 is kind of an amalgamation of Sonic and Tails, aka Sonic 2, Sonic and Knuckles, and Sonic 3. All meshed into one. Well, honestly, a little bit of a Sonic Adventures lore thrown in here too, which is nice. We then follow our goofy little heroes to the mountains. They have to go into a mountain temple to find the Master Emerald. You kind of get like this little mirror of the first movie where instead of it being Tom's and Sonic going on this little road trip adventure, you have Tails and Sonic going on this road trip adventure. And honestly, the narrative flip is there. Sonic is now in the lead. Sonic now has to be the responsible one. And he does feel a little bit of responsible over Tails. Tails is finally meeting his hero. Tails firmly explains to Sonic that ever since that first explosion from the first movie, he's been monitoring and idolizing Sonic from far away, and has grown to think of Sonic as his hero. So Sonic just having his kid join him on this very dangerous mission is starting to get this little bond going on. Sonic is kind of getting this idea or this feeling that Tom feels when it comes to him, wanting to set a good example, to be the good example to this little brother figure, and it's Chef Kiss. While Sonic is showing Tails all about Earth, they end up getting to the mountain temple. And I really do like how this is kind of like a Indiana Jones Sonic level, where they got to go inside the temple, get the Master Emerald, and then hop out, and then they got to go down the mountain. This is such a Sonic coded level part right here, Sonic video game coded level. Robotnik and Knuckles pursue Sonic and Tails down the mountain, and during this mountain chase, Knuckles and Robotnik pretty much steal the compass away from Sonic. Sonic and Tails get into a very big danger with this avalanche growing and growing. Sonic has to call in Tom to save him, pretty much using the ring, the teleporting ring that he gave him to get him out of this mistake. This trouble. And that's when all our titular characters get all up and together. Honestly, I do like how this narrative plot took out our human characters for a good part of the plot where they're not needed. If Tom and Maddie would have just went with us to the temple, they would have just been dead weight. But they are useful. I really do like how this movie does not make them not useful. When we get to the wedding, we realize that the wedding is all a setup. Basically, Gunn has been using Maddie's sister to get closer to Maddie and Tom. And Maddie's sister's fiance is a gun agent. You do get this really cool action scene with the human characters, basically getting a hold of Tails' gear, who's currently knocked out, incapacitated. They use Tails' gears to rescue Tails and Sonic from the gun agents, and basically tell the gun agents, like, hey, yo, Robotnik is back, and if you guys do not help us stop him, he's going to get control of the Master Emerald and pretty much control the world. The gun agents basically say, okay, we can't really do too much, but Sonic escapes. And Sonic, it feels guilty. I think another big thing about this part is like Sonic feeling very guilty about Tails getting hurt during the avalanche scene, and Sonic taking radical, almost toxic responsibility over the matter, pretty much forgetting everything that Tom has taught him. While Robotnik and Knuckles has located the underwater temple that houses the Master Emerald, Sonic gets charged up with super speed and basically just runs to the temple. Well, now it doesn't run, pretty much gets washed up. But you get another cool little reference to Sonic games with this temple run-esque level. And basically, you get the final little scuffle between Sonic and Knuckles, where we also get Knuckles' background. You learn at the beginning of that first movie when the Echidna Warriors came and got Longclaw, they left Knuckles behind. And Knuckles' dad told him that, like, hey, bro, right now we're going to try to, fulfill our duty. Right now I'm going to need you to stay back. If you can stay back, one day we're going to need you. You're going to grow up to be a great warrior. But right now we need you to stay here and stay safe. So there's kind of like this parallel with Knuckles and Sonic, where they both are tied to this conflict of the Master Emerald. They both come from legacies to protect the Master Emerald, and they're too wrapped up in the revenge and the pain of it all to realize that both of them have the same goal. It's to protect the Master Emerald. So they, after being washed up on the beach and having a heart-to-heart, and our good boy Tails stepping in and coming to save us, our three little heroes are finally Team Sonic. And they go chase Robotnik back down the Green Hill Zone, who now has the control of the Chaos Emerald. Chaos Emerald had the ability to grant wishes, which I think was a really funny thing to say, really funny thing to call it, like it has the ability to grant wishes, make things become whatever they need to become. But I should have just been manipulate matter, because that's all it does in this movie. Robotnik gets like drunk off the power and ends up making this giant egg robot, which is very reminiscent to the egg. Man, what's the name of that freaking egg robot from the? Let's see. Why am I acting like we are not doing a live podcast? Robotnik's robot from Sonic 2. What's the name? Not Mecha. Is it just the giant Eggman robot? It's a hybrid of the Death Egg. Okay, so the Death Egg is from Sonic Adventures. Oh, this one's particularly is from Sonic. Yeah, this is what I was imagining. I was imagining this one from particularly Sonic CD. This little robot. This is what I was imagining when I saw it. And then what's the other one that it's based off of? So the Death Egg robot and the giant Eggman robot from Sonic and Knuckles. The giant egg, yeah. Okay, yeah. So it's a hybrid of those two robots. I was like, okay. I see what they were doing there. I'll definitely see what they were doing there. Okay. So, giant robot. Honestly, this is actually a really good time to talk about the visuals in this movie. Because, man, outside of like the Sonic design that got dated, every other design in this movie is fire. Like I don't know what's up with like this more darker take on the CGI, but for some reason, the color coding for these characters are just so much better. Oh, that's Sonic, the first one. Like the darker, like to take everything that's cartoony and then just make it some type of realistic metallic. Maybe it's just the way the light hits it. But even when you're looking at like the CGI on the little furry guys, using more of a royal red for Knuckles. Yes, that's what it is. It's using more of like a royal jewel red for the Knuckles CGI. And then more of a like mix of like pastel royal blues. It's like making the vibrant royal color gem colors and finding the right way of taking a little bit of saturation to make it realistic. That is really cool how they do that with some of these cartoony characters. Even with Tails, who's like just flying around, got his fur all over the place. It's just something about like taking the saturation out of the CGI and toning it with the realistic world that just really gets you engrossed with these characters. And honestly, you just get this really big fun action scene where you just see our team Sonic using their powers, playing off of each other. And honestly, this is the big sell for Sonic the Hedgehog for me. It is seeing these three interact, and I'm happy that they got the dynamic down by the second movie. Sonic knows that Eggman's weakness is him, so he tries to draw Eggman out of the city, try to get the robot to attack him, where Knuckles and Tails end up becoming the smarts and the bronze and knocking the Master Emerald out of Robotnik, and basically just evening the battlefield right then and there. And that is why you had these movies. There's no point of just having Sonic here all by himself. You gotta get the dynamic of the team. That's the heart and soul of this franchise. You can do Sonic movies forever now that you know how to write these three characters well. But, the giant robot has auxiliary power. Dr. Robotnik throws it on and decides he's just gonna destroy Sonic once and for all. Maddie and Tom come here and tries to save Sonic. And Sonic, knowing that the fate of the world is in his hands, decides to use the Master Emerald to become Super Sonic. Now, to be honest with you, this movie did not need to do this. It did not need to sit here and put Team Sonic into such a dire situation to get him to become Super Sonic. But I'm so happy that they did it. And I'm so happy that they really lay on the fact that Sonic is the power of the Master Emerald makes Sonic like this omnipotent god. And where Knuckles is like, this power is too much for him. We must stay away. Sonic hasn't changed. Power doesn't make Sonic change. Doesn't make him become like a dickhead. Like, nah. He's still our silly little guy who wants chili dogs. And that's what Sonic, and this is honestly the tidbit, where Sonic has this whole narrative about gaining power, the understanding of his power, and that responsibility of that power. When he's granted the ultimate power of the Master Emerald, he knows that he can't just wield it all willy-nilly. He has to be cautious, and when he doesn't need it anymore, he gives it up. And then now is the responsibility of Team Sonic to guard the Emerald. I do like how when the Master Emerald breaks apart, it becomes the 7 Chaos Emeralds. And that I didn't think about this in Sonic media, but the 7 Chaos Emeralds just reform and unform into the Master Emerald back and forth. Really cool tidbit from this movie. And honestly, this is perfect. Sonic proves that he doesn't need to be a hero. He can just show up to be a hero. And that's perfect. He learns that the power that he holds, the responsibility that he holds is not just his, it's his and his team, and he needs to trust in his team. And the narrative is about growing. He needs to grow. Knuckles needs to grow. Tails need to grow. and they get to do it together, and they don't need to rush into it. Sonic 1 is really much, where Sonic 1 is a movie about figuring out where you belong and that responsibility. This is about what to do with your responsibility and that burden not being just on you. And I think that's really smart to teach little kids that, hey, the problems that you face in this world aren't just your own. Rely on your team, rely on your friends, because this is how you're going to get through it. And sometimes you just need two good friends. So yeah, honestly, I love these movies. I love Sonic in this sequel. I like how he starts off with this wannabe little Darkwing Duck personality. And this narrative doesn't give him a brand new challenge to overcome. He's still growing up. He's still learning how to be a hero. And this was that first test of being a hero. So, and with the way that the sequel is set up, with this little time travel Terminator setup with Metal Sonic, with it looks like Amy's coming from the future to help. It looks like Sonic is going to continue to learn what responsibility is. And I like when a story franchise or a media franchise decides to use one theme in every movie instead of switching themes all over. I love that they don't go too hard about Tails and his backstory. You could do a little Tails miniseries eventually in the future. But I like how Tails gets to just fall into the plot. He gets to be a little brother. And he comes in, shows off what he can do with his big old brain, and gets to add value. It will be cool to see a little bit more of Tails explored. But because the video games don't do too much with him, the movies would have to come up with some stuff for him. And I honestly love Idris Elba's Knuckles. They play this little meathead character so well. He's smart in his own ways. He's not too much like a Drax. But even though he is a muscle head, he still has that heart of gold. He still wants to fulfill his destiny. And I think I'm going to have to watch the Paramount show now before I do the third review. Because I want to know a little bit more about this little guy. A little bit more about our little guardian. And I'm happy that he got a TV show by himself, but give me some more. Maybe we can get some Rouge up in here and we get to see what a city slick bat lady can do to a little country bumpkin like this guy. Once again, it's kind of hard to not be like Tom and Maddie are just the best human characters. Like, I like what they do with Tom and Maddie in these movies. Tom doesn't need to be super important to the plot. He doesn't need to be some destined human meant to save the world with Sonic. He just has to be a good role model. He just has to be smiley, good boy, and good big brother, good father figure. And I like that Maddie plays off of that. She wants to be a mom. She wants to be a motherly figure. And she's taking these three little knuckleheads in to be her little family. She's always a little more grounded than Tom. She's a little bit more realistic than our other four boys. But it's never nagging. It's never over-encompassing. And I think she might even have more of a plot point in the next movie because now she has all these boys in this house. Maybe Amy being in the plot might get us to explore Maddie a little bit more. We get to explore a little bit more about, womanhood, motherhood, all that good stuff. We'll see. Maybe Amy doesn't have a mom and Maddie becomes more of a mother figure for her. Dr. Robotnik in the second movie is always super fun still. Not much more to add to Jim Carrey's character. Yeah, not much more to add to Jim Carrey's character in the second movie. It's just more of him being silly, more of him being the villain. I think they get to explore him a little bit more in the third movie. There's a little bit more expansion on him. But this shit was just more good character. But, like I said, with the sequels of 2 and 3 down the line, it is going to be interesting to see what they do with Dr. Robotnik because they are making him as human as possible. Yeah, Sonic 1 just feels like a really classic road trip movie about two guys bonding over what's the idea of home means. Sonic gets to be this little phantom of Green Hill who wants to belong, but until he meets Tom, he really doesn't have it. And then that idea of belonging and responsibility is challenge in number 2. Sonic isn't just given a new set of problems or a new set of responsibilities. He's challenged on the progress he's already made. And that progress is challenged anymore when he feels responsible for Tails, and then he has a parallel bond with Knuckles because they both feel like they were abandoned by their guardians. These are pretty good movies to watch. I give Sonic 1 a good 7 out of 10, and I give Sonic 2 a 7.5 out of 10. Be here next week when we do Sonic 3. We do a full breakdown. Okay, we're done with the podcast. Okay, y'all, we're done here. Okay. Let's do one last thing before we go. First of all, if you guys are catching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. I really would appreciate it. If you guys are catching this on live, thanks for listening to me. Thanks for leaving me on the background. Next week, we're going to do a breakdown. On Sonic 3. We're going to talk about, is Sonic 3 a good adaptation? And honestly, maybe I'll just do a full thing. Like, maybe I should see, is the Sonic franchise and its trilogy a good adaptation? But on that note, let's end this beautiful, beautiful day on talking about the Pokemon starters. Since I did low-key forget. So before we get out of here. So let's talk about the babies. We got new babies, you guys. Okay. Well, okay, guys. So new Pokemon starters drop. Let's meet them now. So there is the grass one. His name is Browlet. He is a grass starter. He looks like he might evolve into a grass flying type. I'm hearing things about grass fighting. The wildest prediction I've heard was grass electric. But I like him. He's really cute. He's really adorable. Little grass. We need more grass birds. I think bird Pokemon are always adorable. People love the Piplups, the Rowlets. But he does look like just a more angry Rowlet. It's so funny. And then you have the Gecko. I like how everyone is already assigning a cunty energy to it. And it's adorable. I want to see what this evolves into. It has to be definitely different than like Swabble into a Teleon. Maybe we'll get like a water. It would be nice to see like a water psychic. Water. What else would be cool? Like a water fairy type wouldn't be too bad, but we already have Primarina. Water poison would be cool. And then also, can we talk about the best boy, Pombon? Like Pombon is my son. I really hope we get like a fire fairy type out of him. Something maybe like the Cerberus. Like my prediction for the fire starter, Pombon, is that it's going to evolve into a Cerberus-like Pokemon. This is definitely based off of like rumors and like thematic things we've heard about winning waves. But if this is anything based off of like Greek archipelagos, I wouldn't be too surprised if the fire guy, the fire dog, Pombon, evolves into like a fire fairy type that's reminiscent of like the Fenrir or the Cerberus. I don't know. I'm getting vibes. I'm getting fairy tale vibes off of it. Okay, guys, that is it for today. We are done with the podcast. I appreciate you guys, I appreciate you guys coming for the recording. I really appreciate you guys. Next week, we're talking Sonic 3, podcast thing. And I'm going to think of something in the middle. We're going to play some Pokemon in the beginning. Maybe we'll play some cassette beasts if I can get my devices to work. But I appreciate you guys coming out to the podcast. I appreciate you guys coming to hang out. I really do. Might be swapping up the visuals a little bit next week. This should actually be going live in a few. Like, I'm going to be putting this episode definitely up on the podcast channels. So, I appreciate you guys. Love you. Appreciate you. This is MARZ Super on the MARZ Super channel, a.k.a. Metro Nerd Mars, a.k.a. Captain Marvelous. And I'll see you guys later.